Hey everyone, Linda here again with you from Gumnut Lane Jewellery. Welcome and welcome back. So this week I'm putting myself out there again. I'm going to, our project this week is going to be a pair of earrings. My last set of earrings that I didn't get very good views on them. I don't know why. They were a beautiful pair of earrings and everybody loved them, so I just don't get why it didn't do so well. But I thought, well, let's try another pair, see how we go this time. So this is a pair of earrings. I'll lay them down there for you. Or maybe I should hold them, then you might see them better. Yeah, so they're, I think, really cute pair of earrings. Very unusual, very different. I don't think you're going to see another pair like it around anywhere because it came out of my head. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be making this week. You can also use this part of the earring, this part here. You could use that as a connector for the back of a necklace. You could also make this into like a clasp, is what I'm trying to say. So you've got that side there. Just make your wire a little bit longer on this side, put a hook on it, and you've got a nice clasp there for it. Yeah, I'm sure you could think of lots of different ideas to use this particular part of the earring. Anyway, enough of me gabbing on. I will grab all my supplies together and we'll get going. Okay, I've got my 16 gauge wire here and my 6-step pliers. I'm using the largest mandrel on those pliers. Now, I've just flush cut the end of the wire. You don't need to worry about straightening it. The pliers will do that for you. So we're just going to come up in there like that, and we're going to turn this around once, just a little bit more than that. Now I want to grab that with the top end of my pliers so that my end is just sticking out there a little bit like that. And to make life easier, when you okay, let me explain. I want to make a sharp L shape coming up this way. Now you would do this, hold this on your pliers and grab the end of your wire and turn it up. But I always find that can be a little bit tricky, and I guess if I do, then other people do as well. So I figured out that if I hold on to that with my wire so that I've got my end in there like that, and just pull it up a little bit straight like that. It's not going to be perfect, so don't be expecting it to be perfect. You can take that off your wire. You've got a little bit of a bendy thing here, but don't worry about that. We're just going to grab our tape measure, and from the beginning of that loop there, I'm going to measure off 1.5 centimeters and give that a cut like that. Put my wire away there, and I'll put that away. And I'm just going to grab a pair of flat nose pliers. You could probably use your chain nose pliers for this as well. And I'm just going to turn it over like that, and I'm going to grab the end of that like that and straighten it. That's going to give you that nice crisp bend that we wanted, not you know, the loopy one that was there before like that. Now you might have to do some more adjusting to this to get it straight. And even after that, even though that's straight now, we might need to do a little bit more in a moment. So I'm just going to grab my cutters now. I should have said you don't need to flush cut the end of the wire because we're going to cut it now, so you don't really need to flush cut, even just wrap your wire around. And I'm going to come in I'm going to cut now just to the side, to the right hand side of our wire coming up straight here. So just a little bit if you can see how much I've got there, just a little bit like that. Come in with your pliers, your cutters I mean, and cut that. So it should be looking like that. Now I'm going to grab my bench block and my hammer, and I apologise for the loud noise, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm just going to now just give this a light tap up the top. And by the top, I mean this part here. So I'm just giving that a light tap. And then I'm coming down here to the bottom and I'm going to hammer and drag. So I want this end here to flare out. So you hammer down and drag at the same time, like that. You could do this harder. Take a little bit of frustration out. And you do that as much as you like. So that's what mine looks like there. I'll just move that out of the way so there's no reflection. That's what mine looks like there. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of texture just on the part down the bottom. You don't have to do this bit if you like it, you know, the way it was before. Just leave it like that. So I'm going about halfway up that loop. And you can do a little bit of texture on the other side if you want. There's already a little bit there, but if you want to texture it up a little bit more, just make it a little bit more defined. Okay, sorry about my stomach. I did it on the same side, silly goose. I was wondering why there's a bit of texture on the back side. Yeah. Okay, so we've got texture on both sides there. And as I said, that's optional. You don't have to do that. So I said I just thought of it then. I said I'd tell you about my funny story on my cruise. Oh my God. I still crack up when I think about it. Gee. It was our very first night on the cruise. So I'd gone to bed reasonably early because I was quite tired. And David stayed up, my partner David stayed up a bit later, probably another hour, maybe 2 hours or something after I'd gone to bed. And anyway, we hadn't worked out the lighting system in our cabin. Okay, what I'm going to do here now is just find my right side, which I think is this side here. So I want my wrong side facing me. And I'm going to grab this, and now this is going to be a little bit hard because it is 16 gauge wire. I'm going to hold it with my pliers like that, and I'm going to bend it back. Just use both hands like I did there, if you like. So that's what it should be looking like that. And I'm just going to straighten that up a little bit. It's a little bit wonky. Okay, and I'm just going to grab my round nose pliers. I'm just going to check that that is still at 1.5, and that's pretty spot on. That'll do. And grabbing the using the very tip of my the very ends of my like the top ends of my pliers here, my round nose pliers. I'm going to turn a, if I can get my hands onto the camera at the right angle, and turn a loop back. So I definitely can't walk and talk at the same time because I had to stop telling you my story then. So anyway, yeah, the lighting. So it was pitch black in the pitch black in the cabin, and anyway, Dave's gone to bed. A couple of hours later, he's woken up because he needed to go to the toilet. And I could hear him stumbling around. And I thought, oh my God, here we go. And I said to him, what are you doing? Okay, so that's our little, you can tidy up your loop here if you want to. This is mine. I'm the worst in the world, I think, at doing simple loops. I'm getting better at them. I've been working on a chain that's all simple loops, and I've figured out a way that pretty much solves the problem for me anyway. Yes, I'm just going to close that up now. Yeah, so I'm like, what in the world are you doing? And he said, I can't find the toilet, like where the door was to the toilet. I said, oh, for goodness sake. So I got up and I said, I'll grab my phone and put the torch on and you'll be able to see, because I had no idea where the light switches were. And all I did when we turned the lights off was I just took my card out of the slot and that turned the lights off. So, yeah, I hadn't even looked to where light switches and that were. Anyway, I grabbed my phone, and you know when you pick up your phone and it just illuminates, like I hadn't turned the torch on, so it was just illuminating. And I turned around, here's Dave standing in the cupboard, like the wardrobe. Standing there, he looked like a praying mantis, just in his undies, and he was just standing there. There was coat hangers either side of him. There was no clothes or anything in there, just coat hangers either side of him, and he just he was just standing there. Honest to God, I had to rush to the toilet because I just about wet myself. And he's like, I need to go to the toilet. And I'm like, well, you have to hold on now. You made me laugh. And it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I took a photo in my head. It's like burnt into my retinas now of him standing in this cupboard or closet, as you guys would call it. But the thing was, there was a step. He had to actually step up into the cupboard to get in there to start with, and there was a railing and everything going across the middle. I don't know how he did it, but he was in there. Oh my God, I wished I had my camera turned on and thought to take a photo of him at the time, but I just didn't, because I was just laughing so hard. I've never seen anything so funny, because if you knew my partner Dave, he's really thin, like he's sometimes I just call him a survivor of the concentration camps. That's how thin he is. But yeah, he's just standing there in his undies, bent over like a praying mantis. Oh gosh, it was so funny. Anyway, okay, I've been babbling on too long. So that's that piece done. Now we need some 18 gauge wire. Sorry if you weren't interested in the story, but I just had to tell somebody. It was gosh. So we're going to make a spiral now. Just cutting off the end of that. And I had a measurement for this, and I wrote it down somewhere. Just give me a second, I'll just find my measurement for this. Okay, I'm back with you. The measurement for the 18 gauge wire is 14 centimeters, which would be, let me see here, about 5.5 inches. And also too, I made a boo-boo with the first one of these that I made. So I've just made another one and just brought it up to this stage. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So don't turn your loop yet. That was the mistake I made. Okay, so I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. I've flush cut the end of this. And what I'm going to do is just sort of give these couple of little chomps on the end here. It can be a little bit slippery, but just persevere with it, because you'll get a much nicer end. You see what I mean there? For your spiral. Okay, so we're going to turn a spiral, grabbing the end of that wire, and fairly close to the end of your pliers. So we've got that going, and see what I mean by that? It just gives you a nicer ending on your loop there. Grabbing a pair of flat nose pliers. Now, if you're worried about damaging your wire, you can use your wire straighteners, but I'm not worried about that. Now we're going to do a fairly loose, it's the only word I can think of, loose, try it again, Linda, loose spiral here. So not winding it in tight, keeping it out rather loosely. And as I'm doing this, I'm turning this hand in and I'm turning this hand up that way. You can see that movement there. And just I'm just keeping it roughly equal amount of part, you know, apart. Gosh, words are hard, aren't they? So I'll stop the camera and I'll come back when I've done this. So I'm just doing the same thing until I reach the end of the wire. Okay, back with you now. Just getting towards the end of the wire, and I wanted to show you how to finish it off, because it's getting harder, work hardened as we're going along, so it just makes it a bit harder to turn your spiral. So to finish it off, just hold on to it with your fingers like I am, your spiral, so it doesn't come out of shape. Grab a pair of flat nose pliers or chain nose and just bend that wire in, just gently like that, so that you get a nice finish on the end there. Okay, from here, this gets a little bit tricky. I've had successes and I've had disasters, so just take your time with this one here. We're going to come up into the middle of our spiral there with our pliers, right on that one there, and we're just going to gently and slowly, I can hold on to it, gently and slowly start moving that center of the coil up, the spiral, and I turn it around as I'm doing this, so I'm pushing it from all sides. Okay, now that's not great, so we need to do some fixing on that one. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to just grab another pair of pliers. Can you hold on just one sec? Sorry. Okay, back with you. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're just going to fiddle around with this a little bit. This is probably the, what's the word I'm looking for? The, not the hardest part, just the more time consuming is what the word I'm trying to, I guess was what I'm looking for. I'm trying to make these fairly even, if you get my drift. So that's got quite a big gap there, so it's just a matter of fiddling around. So I'm going to hold this top one here. I might be better off holding it with these pliers, I think. Now I'm thinking out loud. What do I want to do here? Okay. If I hold that top one there, I'm just going to bring this one down. So I'm coming down on my right hand here, just pulling that down gently to where I think, and then I'm going to check it. Not too bad. I'm going to bring this bottom one down a bit further. And I'm going to even this one up by just grabbing it and pulling it up on this side, on the left hand side. So I'm just using my fingernail there to hold that. And that looks like a pretty even spiral to me. Looks pretty good. So I'm just going to turn the end of this in now so it doesn't catch on things. Grabbing the end of that and supporting it on this side and just turning that end in. Just slightly, just so it's hidden underneath the other one like that. And that looks pretty good to me. Okay, put this aside. Now what I also have here, and this is not necessary, it's just optional. Okay, my phone rang in the middle of telling me that. So what I've got here is it's a piece of 20 gauge wire that I've it measured 6 centimeters was the original length, and it's probably balled up now to, yeah, look, just a little bit short of 5. Maybe I didn't have 6 on there. I might have had 5.5, I think. Yeah, 5.5 centimeters. So this is totally optional. It's just my little thing that I like to do. I love bald ends. So I'm going to do this the opposite way to the other one, which I need to grab here and have a look. Oh, oh my goodness, I've got stuff falling everywhere. Okay, so that one's going that way, so I need to make it going that way. Yeah, going the opposite way. This is what always gets me doing things in mirror reverse. My brain just doesn't like to do that. So I'm going to come in from this side. It's going to be there, and then, well, you know what? If it doesn't turn out mirror reverse, I'm not worried about it. It's just, you know, it's a personal preference whether it is or not. Okay, so I'm going to get this wire wrapped around here. Now, if you didn't want to do this, you could, what you could do, if you wanted to have this, you could, and you don't use a torch, or you don't know how to use a torch, you can just paddle the end of your wire. So just make it into a paddle and file it off, and have that instead of the bald end here. So just going to come through here. Hope I've left myself enough wire there. That's why you should always make your earrings at the same time. It's makes the job a lot easier. I haven't got that on there very good. Okay, let me just stop and get this sorted. Okay, I'm back with you, and I got that sorted. So I just started my wraps. So I got that started because it was too, I couldn't get the right angle under the camera. So yeah, I've just you know, attached the wire, wrapped it around, and I'm coming out the back side here. And I've got a piece of wire here. I think that's 18 gauge. It doesn't matter what gauge. Well, it does matter. It's got to be thick enough. And I'm just going to use that to hold that there, so I can get a nice little loop. I don't want to use my tools for this because I don't want it to be a big loop. You can use your tools if you want, but if I can do this under the camera. Ah, goodness. Okay, hold that there. Grab my pliers. As I said, you don't have to do this part. I just like my little dangle things, my little dangle things, my little bald. I'm just bringing that in closer so I can get a better angle on it. My little bald ends. There we go. Hopefully I should be able to do it now. And I'm just going to bring that wire around, poke it through the center of the ring. Let's see how big my loop is. That looks like it's plenty big enough. Straighten that up. Close it in a little bit, just a bit. Now I'm going to pop a jump ring through that. So depending on the width of your, what size wire you used for a jump ring. Where's mine here? It's fallen out of its little bowl. This is what I would do if I was you. Mine are 20 gauge, and it should fit perfectly through that, just as long as you can fit it through and you've got enough movement, then that's, you know, it can wiggle around, then that's plenty big enough. All right, so I'm just going to hold on to this now so it doesn't move where I want it. Leave it where I want it to stay, and grab the end of this wire and bring it up and over. Oops, I said I didn't want it to move and I'd slipped. Actually, no, I've gone the wrong way with that. Did I go up and over? Oh, goodness, sorry, I have to keep referring back to my original. No, I want them both at the back. So I got that around the wrong way. Hopefully I don't break my wire. here. I'm just going very gently. I'm going to have to put my piece of wire back in there. Get my shape. Should have done it the other way, shouldn't I? It was easier. But then that wouldn't be me, would it? I'll have to stop doing that. I was told to stop doing negative talk about myself. Obviously, that's something I have to learn. All right, I've got that going that way. Now I've got to get this one. Okay. Yes, Linda, now you've got it. Just making sure you keep that loop there the whole time. Keeping that shape. I said the spiral was the time-consuming part. This is turning out to be that way, but as I said before, it's not this hard when I'm doing it off camera. It's always for some reason, and I've got too much there. I'm going to pull that loop down a bit more. All right, I'm going to leave it like that. That's pretty close enough to what I've got there. Yeah, so I've got it a little bit longer, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to leave that as it is. Just straighten this little loop up a bit more. I think I've even got my loop a bit bigger. Definitely got my loop bigger. So I've actually got enough here to wrap around one more time, but I'm not going to because it's not what I had on the other side, on the other earring. And that's pretty close to me, so we're making handmade jewellery. It's not supposed to be exactly the same. I'm just going to grab my bench block and my rubber hammer, and I'm going to set those in place. Do both sides. And there we go. Put these away. Okay, got that done. Now we're going to set our little spiral on top and put your join end it towards the back. You don't need to be seeing that in front. Okay, now I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. Just check the length on that. I also cut this bit a bit longer. I cut it at 2 centimeters instead of the 1.5 on the next one, the second one that I made. Just because this spiral, I forgot, takes up a bit of space. So that's pretty much on the 1.5 there. Now I want this to go, I've got to do this the opposite way. Yes. And I'm going to bend this. Grab a pair of pliers. And holding this bit here, and I'm going to bend that forward. Then grabbing my round nose pliers up at the end. And turn it back. There we go. And I'm just going to straighten that up a little bit. Almost done. And I know I forgot to do something. Goodness, Linda, you're... okay, I'm not going to say bad things about myself. The spiral, before we opened it up, when it was flat, I should have hammered it with my rubber mallet. So just make sure you do that. Just give it before you open, like before you start to push up through the center, and your spiral's nice and flat. Give it a hammer to set it. Mine's a little bit too soft here, but that's okay because once it goes through the tumbler, it'll be fine. But if you don't have a tumbler, then make sure you, and even if you do have a tumbler, I would still give it a hammer anyway. I'm not happy with the way that's sitting, and I know it's sitting like this because I didn't hammer it. Yeah, it's not sitting the way it's supposed to sit. But I'm not going to redo this whole video just for that, because of that. You can see yourself, it's wobbling, it's popping forward. It's wobbling forward, and it's supposed to sit nice and tight like this one is. See, this one doesn't move. It's not wobbling around, but that's because I didn't hammer it. And as I said, that will have to do for now anyway. I maybe could tighten this up here. It might help it a little bit if I tighten that. I don't think it will, but oh, I did tighten it a little bit. I just tightened this top part of the spiral here. Well, that's a little tip for you if you're struggling like I am. I so much like the spiral on the other one better. As I said, if I had hammered that, that would have sat a lot nicer. And that's my fault because I forgot to do it. And this is what happens when you make one earring ahead of time before you make the other one. Anyway, we won't look too closely at that one. You can look closely at that one. That way. I'll leave that there. So I'm just going to add the little dangle on the bottom and ear wire. I'm sure you all know how to wrap a briolet. I use 28 gauge wire on this one, and only because the hole was so tiny in the top of this briolet. That often happens when you buy good quality, what's the word I'm looking for? Good quality gemstones. The holes are always really tiny, which can be annoying. I don't know why they do that. There must be a reason. Anyone knows, you can let me know in the comments as to why they do that. Okay, and then a little jump ring at the top. Through there. And make sure I've got that facing the right way, hopefully. So I made the little ear wire with a ball end on it too, just to match it up, I suppose is the word I'm looking for, and I've got that on the wrong way. Anyway, I'm not going to change it now. You get the idea of what the earring's supposed to look like. Oh, goodness. It never rains unless it pours for me.